Elijah Carter's hands trembled on the door of Common Grounds Cafe. Through the glass, unease prickled. The buzz of harsh LEDs drowned his old Edison glow. No community bulletin board, no welcoming hum, just a sea of white faces that skimmed past him like he was already invisible. 5 years of sweat, tiles laid by his own hands, chairs he'd hauled alone. 6 months ago, grief pulled him away, to bury his father and mend a fractured heart. Now, a black man in faded jeans and a threadbare hoodie, his own cafe stared back like a stranger. The woman he'd trusted most approached, phone ready, eyes narrowing. The brass bell jingled sharp as he stepped in. Stephanie's gaze swept him. Unkempt beard, dark skin, weary eyes. "Sir," she said, voice cold as marble, "leave before I call security." Elijah's world stopped. Feet rooted to the floor he'd installed, voice trapped in his throat. She didn't recognize him. Elijah's duffel bag hit the sidewalk. Inside were clothes that still smelled like his father's house. Lavender sachets mixed with medicinal odors from 6 months of hospice care. Funeral programs folded into the side pocket. The weight felt heavier than physics allowed. He'd landed an hour ago from a red-eye he barely remembered. The plan was simple. Check the cafe, make sure Stephanie had things running smoothly, then figure out what came next. His mother kept asking when he'd come home permanently. His father's bedroom still had clothes hanging in the closet, decisions waiting to be made. But first, Common Grounds. This place had been his answer to a question he'd carried since childhood. Where do people go when they don't fit anywhere else? Growing up in a red-line neighborhood, watching his uncle's barbershop shuttered by developers who promised revitalization, Elijah learned that spaces could be weapons. They included or excluded with the brutal efficiency of a dress code, a credit check, a look from behind a counter. So he'd built something different. He'd mortgaged his mother's house for the down payment, a decision that still made his stomach tight. Worked doubles at 3 restaurants for 2 years, saved every penny. Chose this downtown location specifically, gentrifying but not yet gentrified, where old community and new money could coexist if someone built the bridge. Where a student could nurse 1 coffee for 3 hours, where Mr. Washington's chess crew could claim their Thursday corner, where anyone could walk through that door and the only question would be, "What can I get you?" That was the mission, not diversity as decoration, belonging as business model. Elijah touched the wooden sign above the entrance now. Common Grounds. He'd carved it himself with a soldering iron borrowed from a neighbor, his father holding the plank steady for 2 hours while smoke curled between them. "You're building something that matters, son," his father had said. "Don't let anyone take that from you." 3 weeks ago, Elijah had closed his father's eyes for the last time. He pulled out his phone now. 18 texts from Stephanie spanning 6 months. "Everything great here. Focus on your dad. Profits up this month. You were right to trust me. Miss you, boss. Take all the time you need. Thinking of you and your family." Every message warm, supportive, perfect. So why did his gut feel like it was full of broken glass? He opened his banking app. Revenue up 28% in the last quarter. Strong margins. That should have been reassuring. Through the window, he saw the changes more clearly. The walls he'd painted terracotta, his grandmother's Southwest sunset, were now grayish, corporate, soulless. The community bulletin board where artists posted flyers, where the literacy program advertised tutoring, replaced with a digital menu screen cycling through prices. And the customers. 12 people inside, 12 white faces, expensive athleisure wear, designer laptops. He pulled up a photo from 2 years ago, Pride celebration, the cafe packed with humanity in all its variety. Jamal behind the counter with a rainbow flag painted on his cheek, mid-laugh. Rose's book club loud and joyful. Mr. Washington teaching chess to a nervous teenager with green hair. That cafe was alive. This cafe looked like a magazine spread, curated, pristine, dead. Through the glass, he could see the scheduling board. He'd made it himself. 2 weeks of evenings he should have been sleeping. Hand-carved dark walnut, 3 feet by 2 feet. At the bottom, words burned into wood. Everyone belongs here. From this angle, glare obscured the words. But they had to be there. That board was as much a part of Common Grounds as the foundation. His father's watch pressed against his wrist, still set 3 hours behind, his father's time zone, where it was barely dawn. In Elijah's world, the sun was already too high. Trust your gut, son. His father had told him that before his first deployment. His gut was screaming. Elijah picked up the duffel and walked toward the door. Whatever he found inside, he needed to see it with his own eyes. 6 months was a long time. The numbers looked good. The space looked clean. But that feeling in his chest, the one that had kept him alive through 2 deployments, said danger. The brass bell rang when Elijah pushed the door open. Charleston Flea Market, 3 years ago. He'd haggled it down to $40, paid from his first week's tips. Every customer deserves a welcome. Now it felt like an alarm. Chemical smell hit first. Industrial cleaner, sharp and synthetic. Not his coffee and cinnamon signature. His feet touched marble tile. Marble. He'd installed cheap vinyl to save money for wages. Someone had upgraded with his profits. Every detail was violence. Stephanie looked up from the register. Her professional smile held for half a second. Then she really saw him. The smile dropped like a mask. Her heels clicked as she walked toward him, not around the counter. Through the cafe floor, cutting between customers, power move. She stopped 3 feet away, too close. Behind her, the scheduling board. Elijah's heart stuttered. His carved wood was there, but covered. A laminated plastic sheet mounted over it. His words hidden beneath. She'd erased him before he even came back. "Good morning." Stephanie's voice pleasant, but eyes calculating. Beard, unkempt, hoodie, faded, jeans, frayed, duffel, airport tag. Conclusion visible, doesn't belong. "Just wanted coffee," Elijah said quietly. "Of course." Sharp smile. "Our menu's posted outside. You can order through the window." Translation, you can't come in. Elijah's training kicked in. Assess, control breathing, don't react. I'd prefer to sit inside. Stephanie's jaw tightened. "Sir, our establishment has standards, a dress code. For coffee, we maintain a certain atmosphere for our clientele." She gestured at the room, at the white faces, at everything Elijah had built common grounds not to be. Customers watched. An older white woman whispered to her friend. A young couple looked uncomfortable but silent. A business-suited man nodded approvingly. Elijah's hands trembled, not from fear, from the effort of holding still while his world inverted. This woman, the one he'd hired after she talked about inclusive business, the one who organized their best pride event, the one he trusted with everything while his father died. She didn't recognize him. Stephanie pulled out her phone, held it up. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I'm not causing trouble." His voice level. "Inside, tell her, show ID." His body wouldn't obey. "We've had problems with your type loitering." Each word practiced. Not her first time. "Your type." The older woman whispered, "Jesus, that's harsh." Stephanie's head snapped toward her. "Ma'am, I appreciate your concern, but this is my job, protecting our space. Our space, not including him." Stephanie turned back. "There's a gas station 2 blocks down. That's more your speed." The bell he'd bought, the tiles he'd paid for, the walls he'd painted, all surrounding him while he was told he didn't belong. Stephanie raised her phone. "Leave." Her voice dropped, cold, final. "Before I call security." The frozen moment. Time stopped. Elijah's feet refused to move. Actually refused. Muscles locked, tendons rigid. Bolted to marble he didn't install. His breath caught mid-chest. Wouldn't release. The cafe spun at edges while Stephanie stayed in focus, phone raised, waiting. Not fear. Fear was simple. Fear moved you. This was paralysis born of impossible contradiction. His brain screamed, "Tell her, show ID, end this." Nothing. His body wouldn't obey, because underneath rage, underneath humiliation was a question too enormous. How? How did the person he trusted most become this? How did his dream become her weapon? 2 seconds, 20, time meaningless. Involuntary flashback, visceral. Him in these exact jeans 5 years ago, painting the wall Stephanie now defended, original staff helping, everyone laughing, building something good, believing everyone would always belong. The image shattered. Stephanie's voice cut through. "I'm dialing." The spell broke. His hand moved toward his wallet. Business license inside. One piece of plastic could end this. But then, his father's voice, memory from basic training. "Don't let anger make you stupid, son. Collect facts, then strike clean." If he revealed now, she'd know. Delete emails, coach staff, cover tracks. Elijah looked at Stephanie one more time. I'll go. He turned, behind him, her satisfied exhale. Thank you for your patience, everyone. The bell rang. His bell, his cafe, ejecting its creator. Elijah sat in his truck across the street, hands gripping the wheel, knuckles white, phone buzzed. Stephanie. Everything great here. Hope you're hanging in there. She'd just threatened police, now sending hearts. He pulled up banking again. Revenue up 28%, labor costs down 35%. The math was wrong. He scrolled to his original staff list. 5 names. 4 were POC. Where were they now? Another buzz. Andre Williams, Army buddy, now civil rights attorney. You land? Want dinner? Elijah typed, need surveillance laws for Virginia. Can owner record and own business? Seconds later, one-party consent. You're golden. What's going on? Tell you after. Need to see something first. Elijah caught his reflection in the rear view. Beard overgrown. Eyes bloodshot from grief and the red-eye flight. He looked exhausted, defeated. Good, that would help. He grabbed a generic polo from his duffel. Airport purchase, blue, forgettable. Found his disposable razor in the side pocket. 5 minutes later, beard gone, polo on, different enough, not the owner, just another guy needing work. Phone rang. Andre not taking no for an answer. Mark, you sound off. What? How long to freeze business accounts if I suspect embezzlement? Silence, then, whoa, 24 hours with evidence. You got evidence? About to. Elijah, attorney voice now. Whatever you're thinking, be smart. Don't give them ammunition. Document everything. If you're going in, go in clean. Clean, Elijah repeated. Going in clean. He ended the call. Through the windshield, common grounds, customers flowing in and out, all white, all affluent. Exactly the clientele Stephanie had apparently decided should be served. He opened his old planning notebook. Found the page labeled Staff Originals. 5 names written in his handwriting from 5 years ago. Jamal Davis, Rosa Gutierrez, Maya Bennett, Deshaun Miller, Kenji Tanaka. 4 people of color, 1 white employee. That ratio had been intentional. Elijah wanted staff that reflected the community he was trying to serve. Now, glancing through the window, he counted 6 staff members visible, 5 white, 1 black kid who looked exhausted even from this distance. Jamal, still there, somehow still hanging on. His chest tightened. That kid had worked for him since high school. Dependable, kind, always showed up early, always stayed late when needed. Elijah had written him a college recommendation letter, helped him apply for scholarships, talked him through choosing classes. What had Stephanie done to him in 6 months? He opened a new note on his phone, titled it, Investigation. Listed questions. 1. What happened to original staff? 2. Who are new hires? 3. Schedule changes, when and why? 4. Customer demographic shift, how? 5. Labor cost savings, where did the money go? His father's watch ticked against his wrist, still set to the wrong time zone, still marking time in a world where his father was alive, where Common Grounds was still what Elijah had built it to be. This wasn't just about profits or management styles. This was about mission, about whether the thing he'd built, the thing his father had held steady while he burned words into wood, whether that thing still existed or if it had been hollowed out and replaced with something wearing its skin. He started the truck, drove 2 blocks east, parked behind a shipping container in an alley where his truck wouldn't be visible from the cafe, changed into the polo properly, stuffed his hoodie and duffel in the back seat. 1 more mirror check, clean-shaven, generic, forgettable. Not Elijah Carter, owner. Michael, guy looking for work. He walked back toward Common Grounds. The Help Wanted sign hung in the window like an invitation he'd written for himself. Time to see what Stephanie had really built while he was gone. Time to understand the system from the inside, the way you can only understand something by becoming part of it. 6 months was enough time to change everything. He was about to find out exactly how much damage one person with unchecked power could do. The back entrance bell chimed. Smaller, different sound. Elijah had installed it 3 years ago, worried about unmarked deliveries. A young white woman looked up from restocking paper cups. Name tag, Emma. Professional smile. Hi, are you here about the position? Yeah. Still available? Let me grab Stephanie. She disappeared toward the office. Elijah used the 30 seconds to scan the room. The break area where staff used to decorate with family photos, now sterile white walls, corporate motivational posters about excellence and standards. The community board space, converted to dry storage. The scheduling board visible from here, plastic cover reflecting LED light. Stephanie emerged, professional smile firmly in place. She didn't recognize him. Why would she? Clean-shaven, different clothes, different context. In her mind, the owner was away caring for dying family. This was just another applicant. So you're interested in joining our team? Need work? Have barista experience? Perfect. She handed him an application on a clipboard. We're very particular about our culture here. This isn't just coffee, it's an experience. Our clientele expects a certain aesthetic. Elijah heard everything she didn't say. 6 years in Army intelligence taught you to read subtext. He filled the application, used his middle name, Michael, listed his mother's address. Fake previous experience at a chain that had closed 2 years ago. Nothing she could verify easily. Stephanie scanned it quickly. When can you start? Now if you need. Excellent. Emma will train you. Minimum wage to start, tips pooled. We'll evaluate after 2 weeks. Minimum wage for a cafe where small lattes cost $8. Emma walked him through basics. She was efficient, but not unkind. The espresso machine. Top of the line, newer than what Elijah had purchased. Someone had upgraded, with his money. Stephanie's pretty strict about procedures, Emma said quietly. Everything has to be exactly right. She times things. Times? Like if a customer sits too long without ordering more, she wants us to do wellness checks. Make sure they're actually paying. How long is too long? Emma hesitated. Depends on the customer, I guess. Depends on the customer, translation clear. The shift continued. Elijah made drinks, wiped counters, watched patterns. At 4:30 a.m. the next day, Elijah returned for his assigned shift. The cafe was dark except for the prep area. Empty except for one person, Jamal, cleaning. The kid looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, hands raw and red from chemical cleaner. He was scrubbing the grease trap behind the espresso machine, a job that should rotate among staff, done weekly. Judging by the buildup, this was overdue maintenance being blamed on the person with least power. Hey, Elijah said carefully. Jamal looked up, startled. Sorry, didn't hear you. You're new? Michael, started yesterday. Jamal. He returned to scrubbing. Stephanie wants this perfect before rush. You here every morning this early? Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, 4:30 to 7:30. 3 hours. 3 hours of minimum wage work at brutal hours. Used to have longer shifts, Jamal added carefully. But things changed. Elijah felt rage build. 3-hour shifts meant no benefits. Meant part-time on paper, impossible to plan a life around. How long you worked here? Almost 2 years, since high school. Something in his voice, pride or memory of it. It was different before. The owner, Mr. Carter, he was different. Actually cared. Had this whole mission about everyone belonging. We did community events, free coffee for the shelter, pride celebrations. It was... Jamal stopped, shook his head. Then he left. Family emergency. Stephanie took over. Things changed pretty quick. Changed how? Jamal glanced toward the office, making sure Stephanie wasn't around. Schedule changes mostly. I used to work 32 hours. Could pay community college tuition, had health insurance through here. Now I'm at 12, sometimes 8. Lost my scholarship because I couldn't cover the gap. Had to drop 2 classes. That's rough, man. 4 of us got cut like that. The original crew. Maya got dropped to 0 hours, just quit. Rosa same, Deshaun moved to California. Jamal scrubbed harder. Weird thing is, Stephanie kept hiring, but all the new people get better shifts, better hours. Elijah didn't have to ask what new people meant. At 7:15, Stephanie arrived. Jamal immediately tensed. Jamal, sharp voice. Why isn't this sparkling? I've been working since 4:30. Emma's here in 15. This needs pristine. To Elijah. Michael, you're on register. Jamal finishes this, then off shift. 3 hours of work. $18 before taxes. For a kid who'd given 2 years of loyalty. Day 2. Black teenager came in, ordered water, pulled out a textbook. 20 minutes later, Stephanie approached. This isn't a library. If you're not purchasing, I need you to leave. 2 hours later, white woman sat for 90 minutes with a water bottle she'd brought, never ordered. Stephanie refilled it unprompted. Take your time, honey. Different rules for different people. Day 3. Emma pulled him aside during break. Storage room surrounded by inventory boxes. I feel weird saying this, she whispered, but Stephanie told me directly she wants a certain aesthetic for counter staff during peak hours. She said suburban customers tip better and don't complicate things, which... Emma looked away. I think means she wants white staff during rush. I feel sick about it, but I need this job. Student loans. Complicate things, Elijah repeated. Yeah, and it's not right. Jamal's been here forever, stuck with cleaning shifts, opening shifts, worst hours. I got hired 3 months ago, already making more hours than him. He trains every new person and they get better schedules. It's backwards. Day 4. After his shift, Elijah stayed late, claimed he wanted to learn closing procedures. The cafe emptied. Stephanie went to her office for paperwork. He waited, heard her in the bathroom, then moved. The office door unlocked. Stephanie's confidence in her control. Elijah slipped inside. The desk was different, new, expensive, filing cabinet. He tried it. Locked but cheap. Bent paperclip felt for pins. 15 seconds. Click. Inside, USB drive in a case. Label. Personnel. Backup. His hands shook, plugging it in. Files loaded, spreadsheets, emails, calendar entries. The spreadsheet showed schedule changes time-stamped to the minute his flight took off, like she'd been waiting. Column headers: name, ethnicity, original hours, current hours, reason. Jamal's row, original, 32. Current, 12, reason. Performance issues. Elijah had written Jamal's actual reviews himself. Exceptional. Perfect attendance. Employee of the month twice. Maya's row, original, 35. Current, 0 reason. Not a culture fit. Culture fit. The phrase that meant everything and nothing. He clicked emails. From Stephanie Brennan to Rachel Morrison. Date, 2 months into his absence. Update, down to 4 POC on schedule. Cutting hours to sub 15 weeks on no benefits. Hiring suburban college girls. Better look, better tips. Customers love it. Revenue up 22%. Owner's too busy with family drama to notice. By the time he's back, if he comes back, this'll be the new normal. Rachel's response, genius. Same at my store. HR says as long as you don't say it's race, you're golden. Use culture fit language. Lawsuit free 3 years. Stephanie's reply, exactly. If he questions anything, I'll say market changed. We adapted. He built this on charity vibes. I'm building actual business. Charity vibes. His mission dismissed as naive sentiment. Another email. To Tom Peterson, his investor partner. Tom, since the owner's extended absence, I've taken operational control. Results, profitability up 28% by optimizing labor and refining target demographic. Previous owner had good intentions but poor business instincts. Too focused on community at expense of margins. I've corrected that. Prepared to discuss buyout options if Carter doesn't return. I've proven I can run this more effectively than he did. She was planning to steal his business using exploitation profits. Elijah forwarded everything. Personal email. Andre, cloud secured. Another folder. Customer incidents. Logbook. Every removal documented. 12 entries in 4 months. March 15th. Black male, late 20s, water only, 45 minutes, loitering, asked to leave. April 3rd. Elderly black man brought chess set, corner table, non-paying use, asked to leave. That was Mr. Washington. Elijah had bought that chess set for him. April 18th. Young black woman, single coffee, 2+ hours. Not contributing turnover, asked to leave. Clinical, professional. As if documentation made discrimination policy. Several had notes. Customer claimed to report to corporate. Note, we're independent. I said I'd look into it. Did not return. Impersonating authority, making people think they had recourse. Last folder, expansion plans. Business proposal. Buy common grounds at current market value, inflated by exploitation profits. Section, owner transition risks. Carter absent 6 months, father's terminal illness, emotional state uncertain, risk returns, attempts reversal, mitigation, frame changes as market-driven, emphasize financial success, document concerning behavior, frame as grief impairment, pursue buyout. Have Tom prepared. She'd planned for him objecting, for him fighting back, had a playbook to make him look unstable. Draft email to Tom unsent yesterday. Carter returned unexpectedly, showed up disheveled, created scene, handled appropriately, he left. Confirms concerns about his state, Not ready to resume operations. Should move forward with our discussions. Handled it. By ejecting him from his own cafe. Footsteps. Elijah closed programs, ejected USB, returned it, relocked cabinet, door opened. Stephanie stood there, saw him at her desk. Who the hell are you? Stephanie's hand moved to her phone. Emergency posture. Elijah stood slowly, hands visible. Sorry. Looking for the cleaning schedule. Emma said it might be here. Cleaning schedule is in the break room. Eyes narrowed. Why are you in my office? Door was open. My mistake. She didn't believe him, but couldn't prove anything. Get out. Your shift ended an hour ago. Outside in his truck, he opened email. The files were there. Everything. But one piece kept pulling him back. Not the smoking gun exactly, the context around it. He pulled up the USB files. Budget reallocation complete. The community fund, $800 monthly for shelter coffee, Little League literacy programs eliminated. Moved to marketing and brand positioning. Marketing folder revealed targeted Facebook ads geo-fenced exclusively to wealthy white zip codes. Ad copy, discover your productivity sanctuary, where professionals gather. Every phrase signaling exclusivity without saying it. Instagram campaigns showed dozens of photos. Every image, white customers, white staff, expensive athleisure. Not one photo of the diverse community he'd built. Mr. Washington's chess games, Rosa's book club, pride celebrations erased. Subfolder, competitive analysis, gentrified market positioning. Stephanie had studied other cafes, documented which had successfully transitioned to upscale clientele. Made a roadmap, followed it step by step. Customer incidents, full documentation. Memo to herself 1 month into his absence. Customer-based transition strategy. Shift demographics without explicit policy creating legal exposure. Approach. Selectively enforce existing policies, loitering, dress code, noise, targeting only undesirable segments. Create welcoming environment for target demographic through aesthetic improvements. Price positioning. Timeline, 4-6 months. Expected result, 25 to 30% revenue increase. Undesirable segments. Written down, planned, executed. Notes from Rachel Morrison. Document everything justifying terminations. Create paper trails showing performance issues, even if fabricated. HR can't challenge documented patterns. Target specific employees, build negative case over 8-12 weeks. Fabricated performance issues. Her confession in writing. Customer log entries. Black male, mid-20s, water only, studying 45+ minutes. Asked to leave. Strategic note. This customer type depresses transaction value. Elderly black male brought chess set, asked to leave. Strategic note, chess club attracts wrong demographic. That was Mr. Washington. Several entries noted, customer claimed would report to corporate. Response, stated I'd forward to regional management. Strategic note, no corporate structure exists, but claiming higher authority ensures no accountability. Systematically lying. Expansion plans folder. Complete business proposal. Professional pitch deck. Financial model showed her acquisition strategy. Cut labor, raise prices, buy out Elijah's stake. Projected controlling interest in 18 months. Section titled Owner Neutralization Strategy. Anticipated challenge. Carter returns objects to changes. Risk high. Mitigation, position objections as impaired judgment. Phase 1, frame changes as market-driven necessity. Emphasize financial success. Phase 2, if resistance, document concerning behaviors. Frame through grief-related impairment. Key phrases, understandably emotional, not thinking clearly, tragedy-affected judgment. Phase 3, leverage investor. Have Tom express concerns about Carter's current state. Position buyout as compassionate solution. Phase 4, if legal action threatened, counter with documentation showing abandonment, erratic decision-making, emotional instability, expected outcome, accepts changes as passive owner or accepts buyout on our terms. She'd planned to weaponize his father's death. Brand repositioning post-acquisition. Once ownership transition complete, full rebrand. Common ground suggests accessibility we've moved away from. Proposed. Elevation Coffee, Ascent Coffee Co., complete interior redesign, remove community space elements, eliminate bulletin board, replace communal seating with individual pods, automated ordering, pricing, increase baseline another 20 to 30% completing economic barrier, She was going to erase everything. The name, the mission, everything his father helped him build. Phone buzzed. Andre. Got your files. This is insane. Call me. Most documented discrimination case I've seen in 15 years, Andre said. She didn't just discriminate. She created a playbook and documented every step. She wrote down her intent. Multiple times. Freeze the accounts? Filing tomorrow morning. But Elijah, do this perfectly. She's expecting you emotional, violent, unstable. That's literally her plan. Paint you as grief-impaired. Don't give her that. What do I do? Go in calm, factual, with witnesses, documentation. Dismantle what she built the same way she built it. Deliberately, strategically, with overwhelming evidence. System, not revenge. She built discrimination. You build accountability. She expects rage. Give her justice. Elijah looked at Common Grounds through his windshield. Lights blazing. Stephanie's car there. She thought she'd handled it that first day. Thought her strategic planning made her untouchable. Thought documenting everything protected her. She had no idea. While she'd been busy creating her discrimination playbook, Elijah had been copying every page. While she built her case against him, he'd been collecting her confession. Every memo she wrote to protect herself would be used to expose her. Tomorrow morning, every piece, every fabricated performance review, every strategic memo, every demographic transition plan, every lie to customers, every weaponized policy would be presented in one devastating package. She'd built her empire on paper, believed documentation made her invincible. Paper was about to bring it all down. Elijah sent an emergency staff meeting email at midnight from his owner account. Subject: mandatory all-staff meeting, paid attendance, 8 a.m. Stephanie replied within 5 minutes. Is everything okay? Want me to handle this? He didn't respond. At 8 a.m., 12 staff members gathered, chairs in semicircle, atmosphere tense. Stephanie arrived last, concern visible when she saw Elijah at front. Clean-shaven, generic polo, but posture different. Military straight, shoulders back, owner stance. Good morning. For those who don't know me, I'm Elijah Carter. I own Common Grounds Cafe. Room erupted in whispers. Emma's hand went to mouth. Newer staff looked confused. Jamal's eyes went wide. Stephanie's face went through 5 stages in 3 seconds. Confusion, squinting, recognition, eyes widening, disbelief, head shaking, understanding, pieces clicking, horror, remembering everything she'd said. Michael? Emma whispered. Elijah. I've been working here 4 days as employee, undercover in my own cafe. This is entrapment. You can't... It's my business. I can work however I want, but let's talk about what you've been doing. He turned laptop. Projector displayed spreadsheet on wall, schedule changes, hour cuts, names, ethnicities, original hours, current hours, reasons for change. Correlation between ethnicity and reduced hours was stark. Jamal, how many hours per week when I left 6 months ago? Voice shaking. 32, sir. And now? 12, sometimes 8. Did your work quality drop? No, sir. I tried harder. Thought if I proved myself, worked harder, hours would come back. Thought it was my fault. Room silent. Several staff had tears. Elijah's jaw tightened. He tried harder. You cut him deeper. Punished loyalty with exploitation. Stephanie searched for defense. I was increasing profitability. Revenue up 28%. You've been gone 6 months. Someone had to make hard decisions. By exploiting people who trusted you. Next slide. Email exchange with Rachel Morrison appeared. Here are your emails, where you discuss removing POC from schedule, where you call my mission charity vibes, where you mock the board I carved. Gasps around room. Staff pulled out phones, taking photos. That's out of context. Business is business. I did what I had to. You're being emotional. Emotional. Elijah let word hang 3 seconds. Yes, I'm emotional. I buried my father 3 weeks ago. Came home from funeral to discover you'd turned my dream into nightmare. So yes, emotional, but also factually, demonstrably, legally correct. Next slide. Customer retention data. Revenue analysis. Revenue's up because you raised prices 40%, cut labor exploiting workers, eliminated every community investment I built. But here's what you didn't calculate. Trend line showed it. 6 months, you lost 60% of repeat customers. That revenue spike you're proud of, new customers spending once, never returning. You're burning goodwill I spent 5 years building, not business strategy. Extraction. Emma raised hand, spoke without waiting, voice shaking but determined. She told me directly she wanted certain aesthetic for who works counter during peak hours. Said suburban customers tip better, don't complicate things. Those were exact words. I knew wrong. But I need this job. Have loans. I'm ashamed. Another staff member. She removed donation jar for homeless shelter. When I asked why, said it sent wrong message to target clientele. Jamal's voice stronger. She wrote me up 3 times for performance issues. But before Mr. Carter left, he'd given me raise. Told me I was best employee. Wrote college recommendation. Those write-ups made no sense. Same work, better even, trying so hard. Testimonies came faster, each person adding piece. System exposed from every angle. You're all turning on me. Stephanie's voice cracked, raw and desperate. Real tears. I made this profitable, saved it. You were too weak to make hard choices, too scared to build real business. I did what you couldn't. Elijah walked slowly to scheduling board on wall, reached up, grabbed corner of plastic laminate covering his carved wood, held it moment, then ripped it off in one smooth motion. Plastic tore away, words appeared, burned into walnut. Everyone belongs here. This, Elijah said quietly, hand resting on carved wood, is what I built. This is foundation. This is what we're returning to. He turned to face Stephanie directly, met her eyes. You're terminated, effective immediately. 10 minutes to collect personal items. Andre, lawyer, stepped from back room, will escort you. You'll receive final paycheck within legally required time frame, minus documented damages for policy violations. If you contest this termination, we proceed to court with everything you've seen today, plus additional documentation you stored on USB drive. Stephanie looked around desperately, searching for allies, found none. White staff who'd benefited looked ashamed, couldn't meet her eyes. Staff she'd exploited looked vindicated, relieved, some openly crying. You'll regret this, Stephanie said, voice shaking. This place will fail without me. You can't run successful business on feelings and charity. Real world doesn't work like that. No, Elijah said simply. It was failing with you. You just measured failure wrong. You counted dollars and ignored human dignity. Now please leave my cafe. Andre stepped forward, gestured toward office. Stephanie grabbed bag with shaking hands, walked stiffly toward back, spine rigid. 10 minutes later emerged with small cardboard box, plant from desk, coffee mug with her name, framed photo of her dog. As she walked toward exit, older white woman from that first day, the one who'd whispered, "That's harsh," was sitting by window with coffee. She'd witnessed entire confrontation. Good riddance, woman said loudly, clearly wanting Stephanie to hear. Small justice. Stephanie pushed through door without looking back. Brass bell rang. Elijah's bell, bought at Charleston Flea Market for $40, supposed to welcome everyone who entered. Now announced exit of someone who'd tried to redefine everyone into people like us. Door closed. Bell's echo faded. Cafe fell into heavy silence. 12 staff members stared at Elijah, faces showing shock, relief, uncertainty, hope. They'd just watched manager fired, learned owner had been working beside them in disguise. Seen 6 months of hidden discrimination exposed in brutal detail. Question on every face, what happens now? He'd won battle, corrupt manager gone, evidence documented, immediate injustice addressed. But could he win war? Could he rebuild what she'd destroyed? Could idea at heart of common grounds that everyone truly belongs survive what it had been through? Elijah stood in the silent cafe, 12 pairs of eyes on him. Jamal looked hopeful but cautious, like someone afraid to believe. Emma looked ashamed, arms wrapped around herself. The newer staff members just looked confused. Okay, Elijah said. Here's what happens now. He gestured to the chairs. First, nobody is working during this meeting. You're all on the clock. This is paid time. He opened his laptop. Stephanie did real damage here. Serious damage. I have to own part of that. I trusted without verifying. Gave one person too much power without accountability. That stops today. He pulled up a document. I've worked with Dr. Patricia Johnson, organizational psychologist specializing in workplace equity and discrimination cases. She'll help us rebuild systems so this never happens again. Dr. Johnson entered, a black woman in her 50s with kind eyes and no-nonsense energy. Thank you. I've reviewed everything Mr. Carter documented. What happened here isn't unusual. It's a pattern I see nationwide. One person gets unchecked power and dismantles years of good work. We're building systems to prevent that. Elijah took a breath. First major change, transparent scheduling committee. 3 staff members build the schedule together. Membership rotates every quarter. I have veto only for business emergencies, documented in writing. Fair? Heads nodded. Jamal looked stunned. Second, objective performance reviews. Dr. Johnson is helping create standardized rubrics. Everyone evaluated on same metrics. No more culture fit. He pulled up fake reviews. Jamal, according to Stephanie, you were below expectations. According to my notes from 8 months ago, you were exceeding every metric. Employee of the month twice. Somebody was lying. The answer was obvious. Third, written anti-discrimination policy, posted publicly, enforced consistently. He displayed the document. Common Grounds Cafe serves everyone, period. No dress code beyond health requirements, no service refusal based on appearance, race, religion, sexuality, gender identity, or economic status. Our bathroom is available to any human who needs it. No purchase required. You don't need to buy anything to exist in this space. Questions? Ask ownership. A customer witnessing everything spoke. More places need this. Several people nodded. Fourth, big one, financial projections. Stephanie kept saying revenue was up. She was right. But she kept all the gains. We're doing this differently. 15% of monthly profits after expenses will be split among all staff based on hours worked. You build this place, you benefit from it. Emma started crying. I've worked service industry for 10 years. Nobody has ever done anything like this. We're doing it now. Fifth, community restoration. Donation jar comes back today. Every event Stephanie canceled. Pride sponsorship, NAACP meetup, youth job fair, shelter coffee, all gets rescheduled. Original mission. He looked at Jamal. And we're reaching out personally to every customer Stephanie banned, apologizing, free coffee for a month, inviting them back. Jamal's voice barely a whisper. Mr. Washington, the chess guy? First call I make after this meeting. Sixth, staff restoration. To Emma. Get me Maya Bennett's contact information. She was assistant manager. Stephanie cut her to 0. I'm offering her job back. Full hours, shift lead pay, plus back pay for lost wages. Emma was already pulling out her phone. Dr. Johnson stepped forward. Be clear about something. These aren't just nice ideas. They're structural changes creating real accountability. The scheduling committee distributes power. Objective reviews create transparency. Profit sharing aligns everyone's incentives. This isn't charity. This is sustainable, ethical business that works long term. One more thing. Elijah pulled an envelope. Jamal, I'm offering you assistant manager position, Maya's old role, shift lead pay, full benefits. And this check covers tuition you couldn't pay when Stephanie cut your hours. Back pay for what you should have been earning. I'm also writing you a new recommendation letter. Your scholarship shouldn't have been at risk because someone discriminated. Jamal stood so fast his chair tipped over. I don't know what to say. Say you'll take the job. What if I mess up? What if I become like her? Elijah walked over, put a hand on Jamal's shoulder. You won't. Know how I know? How? Because you just asked that question. People who abuse power don't worry about abusing it. The fact that you're scared of becoming her means you never will. You're already better. Jamal wiped his eyes. Then yes, I'll do it. Teach me how to lead the right way. Over the next 3 weeks, the changes took root like seeds finally getting water. The scheduling committee held their first meeting. Jamal, Emma, and newer barista Tyler. They spread the schedule across a table and built it together, debating fairness, making compromises. Nobody got stuck with only the worst shifts. Everyone got some prime earning hours. The schedule was posted publicly with signatures from all 3 committee members. Dr. Johnson ran afternoon workshops on recognizing implicit bias, de-escalation techniques, and inclusive customer service. Emma took notes frantically, determined to do better. Maya came back. She was deeply skeptical at first, burned once, cautious about being burned again. But when Elijah handed her a check for 3 months of lost wages, she broke down completely. Why are you doing this? She kept asking through tears. Because you deserved better then, and I'm trying to do better now. Within a month, she was head roaster again, developing a new blend she called Second Chances. 10% of proceeds went to a re-entry program for formerly incarcerated people trying to rebuild their lives. The financial results came in after 3 weeks. Revenue was down 12% from Stephanie's peak. Some of her favorite customers had left scathing negative reviews online, complaining about the new management and the decline in standards. But customer retention was up 180%. New reviews averaged 4.8 stars. Staff turnover, 0. People were staying because they wanted to, not because they had no choice. Elijah showed the numbers to the team during their first all-staff meeting. Stephanie achieved what I call a sugar rush. Quick spike in energy that crashes hard and leaves you worse off. We're building sustainable energy, slower, steadier, actually better for long-term health. The proof was in the details nobody tracked in quarterly reports. Lower marketing costs because word of mouth brought customers in organically. Less training time because staff actually stayed and built expertise. Higher tips because customers felt genuinely good about where they were spending their money. Ethical business wasn't just morally right, it was actually working. 6 months later, Common Grounds at 6:30 in the morning, golden autumn light streaming through the windows. The Edison bulbs were back. Elijah had reinstalled them himself with the team helping, everyone getting covered in dust and cobwebs, laughing about it. Jamal stood behind the counter training a new hire. The kid was 17, nervous, black, from the local high school's work-study program. "First rule," Jamal said patiently. "Every single person who walks through that door is a guest. Doesn't matter what they're wearing, what they look like, whether they're buying anything or not. Everyone belongs here." The new hire pointed to the scheduling board on the wall. "That's what it says on there, right?" "Exactly. It's on the board. It's in the walls. It's in every single thing we do here." Jamal smiled. "Mr. Carter built it that way from the beginning. We just keep it going." The community bulletin board was back, absolutely covered in flyers. Pride Festival announcement, Little League team sponsorship. Literacy program tutoring schedule. A hand-drawn thank you note from the homeless shelter. Common Grounds donated 200 cups of coffee this month. You fed our community. Thank you for seeing us. The chess set was out in the corner. Mr. Washington had returned. Skeptical at first when Elijah called to apologize, but the old man had actually cried on the phone hearing what had happened. Now he was here every Thursday without fail, teaching chess to anyone interested. Today he was working with a teenage girl with bright purple hair who was absolutely crushing him. "You're a natural," Mr. Washington said, pride evident in his voice. Emma ran the monthly diversity workshop now. 20 people packed into the cafe after hours. Tonight's speaker was from the LGBTQ Youth Center. At the end, a young person raised their hand tentatively. "I just wanted to say I've never felt safe in a coffee shop before. Like, really safe. Thank you for making this space exist." Emma's voice shook when she responded. "I'm still learning how to do better, but thank you for giving me that chance." Maya's Second Chances blend had become the best seller. She'd expanded the program, now partnering with 3 different re-entry organizations, providing job training in the cafe's roastery, teaching people coming out of incarceration how to source, roast, and blend coffee. A customer asked her one afternoon, "Why call it Second Chances?" "Because everybody deserves one," Maya said simply. "I got mine." Thursday night, community meeting. 30 people gathered in the cafe after closing. NAACP chapter planning voter registration drives. Pride organizers coordinating June events. Youth Homeless Coalition working on job placement programs. This was the vision. Cafe as genuine community hub, not just selling coffee, but building something larger than commerce. A man in a worn jacket entered one afternoon. Clearly unhoused, you could tell from the layers, the weathered face, the careful way he moved. He looked around nervously. Jamal approached with a warm smile. "Hey there, what can I get you?" "I don't have much money." "Water's always free, coffee's $2, but if that's tight today, how special is on us?" The man's eyes filled with tears. "The lady who was here before, she used to tell me to leave?" "She doesn't work here anymore. You're welcome here. Always." He ordered the coffee. Sat for 3 hours reading a battered paperback someone had left on the community bookshelf. When he left, he put 50 cents in the donation jar, literally everything he had. Elijah saw it from the office, didn't intervene, didn't make it into a teaching moment or a scene, just smiled. The system was working exactly as designed. Someone posted on the neighborhood Facebook group. Common Grounds used to be so much better. Faster service, nicer atmosphere. It's really gone downhill since the management change. Disappointed. Emma responded publicly within an hour. That management was systematically discriminating against customers and staff. If you preferred that atmosphere, I'd encourage you to examine why. We're better now, kinder, fairer, more welcoming to everyone. If that's downhill to you, this probably isn't your space anymore. The post got 300 likes. The original reviewer deleted their comment. 10 new 5-star reviews appeared within 24 hours. One morning, Elijah visited his father's grave, placed a cup of Common Grounds coffee on the headstone, Maya's Second Chances blend, the one that tasted like hope and new beginnings. "I fixed it, Dad," he said quietly to the polished granite. "Did it your way, not with anger, with justice. Everyone belongs here. You said that to me when I was 17, working my first real job, and some customer was being awful. You said everyone's fighting a battle we can't see, and everyone deserves basic dignity. I carved those words into that board. Someone tried to hide them, but we brought them back." Wind blew through the cemetery. Leaves rustled in the old oak trees. Peace settled over him like a blanket. Back at the cafe, the scheduling board hung in its place of honor. All staff names written in permanent marker now, visual representation of equality. The team had added decorative stickers during a slow afternoon, making it their own. At the bottom, a new carving. Jamal had done it under Elijah's supervision, both of them hunched over the board with wood-burning tools, smoke curling between them like it had between Elijah and his father years before. Built by Elijah, managed by many, belongs to everyone. An email arrived. Another minority business owner from the next city over. "I heard what you did at Common Grounds. Can you consult on my restaurant? I think I have a similar problem with my GM." Elijah forwarded it to Dr. Johnson. "Want to help me with this one?" Her response came immediately. "Absolutely, let's scale this model." The ripple was growing wider. 1 year after the confrontation, Common Grounds hosted its first systems check workshop for local business owners. 50 people attended. Elijah facilitated. Let his staff tell the story. Jamal described the exploitation. Emma described her complicity and learning to do better. Maya described returning and healing. Dr. Johnson provided the analytical framework. The audience took notes. Some cried. "How do I know if I have this problem?" an attendee asked. "Ask your people," Elijah said. "Really ask them. Create safety for truth-telling. Listen, you'll know. What if customers leave when I take a stand?" Jamal answered, "Some will leave. Let them. The ones who stay and come for your values, that's your real community." Dr. Johnson added, "This framework isn't just cafes. Any system where one person has unchecked power. Offices, schools, hospitals, nonprofits." Workshop ended, but people lingered, exchanging contacts, forming accountability groups. Where they all were now. Jamal graduated community college with honors, still general manager, applying to business schools. Emma consulting for 3 local businesses on diversity and inclusion. Maya head roaster, 5 signature blends. Partnering with 6 reentry programs statewide. Stephanie working retail management elsewhere. Elijah never mentioned her name. The point wasn't revenge, systems, the numbers, staff retention, 94% customer retention, 87% profit margin, 23% community events, 48 yearly at-risk youth employed, 12. Inclusion wasn't charity, strategy, good business. Elijah locked up that night. Last look at the scheduling board. Words carved in walnut, "Everyone belongs here." Next morning, sunrise, door opened, diverse customers flowing in, laughter, multiple languages, life, community, belonging. The brass bell rang its welcome. Elijah's story started in silence. It doesn't have to end there. Like this if discrimination disguised as business decisions needs to stop. Share this if you know someone building something better. Subscribe for stories where truth wins and systems change. Your engagement matters. Make it count.